It's preparing live stream. Okay, got it. Setting up meeting for live, and then I'll go ahead and hit record here in a second. Okay, now I gotta mute this. So. Episode 142. You are not 42 this week.
No progression.
Trying to take a third week in a row with that one. Didn't work.
You are not 42 either.
Yeah. No, I'm 28, 29. I can't remember. So we're back at it. My voice is a little funky tonight. I don't even know. I didn't get sick or nothing, but I think it's just screaming in the classroom. Yo, don't stand on the desk. Special guest back for what, fourth time?
I think this is number 4.
I think this is number 4. It is the famous Staff Sergeant Lacey McDonald.
I don't know about famous, but
famous to me, brother.
Man, I'm glad to be back, man. Seeing my homies. These are my homies right here. You know, it's rare that I get to get out of the house from time to time and just, divulge in other things besides the fam, but I'm feeling good.
Heck yeah, bro. We are live on YouTube today, Pierce.
Boom.
What
the fuck is up with all these balloons everywhere? Shit.
Yeah.
We're live on those balloons, Dollar.
Yeah.
On the blimps everywhere.
Let's go.
Dirigibles.
Let's go.
That's a word that nobody uses anymore.
Dirigible.
Dirigibles.
That is true, man. Man, we gotta really lengthen up our vocabulary here, man.
We're gonna bring that word back.
Dirigible.
Dude, so I got back from New York, went to New York for the first time in my life. Life changing, honestly. It was like perspective changing, I should say. A whole different pace of life, bro. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It kind of reminded me of Vegas in that I could see myself returning, but for much different reasons. There's just so much to see in New York. You can't see it in like 2 or 3 days. But also, I don't think I could stay more than 2 or 3 days.
What? No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
Really. It's just the energy is a little too high, bro. It's a little too high for me. But the history is fantastic. I found myself sitting in a restaurant on my birthday that was built over 300 years ago, before the founding of the United States of America.
That's
yeah,
right.
bro. That's what it was like when we went to Boston, man. Go out there and see like Paul Revere's house, all that shit. Like, wow, like the history shit. The Freedom Trail.
It ignited in me a desire to travel and to see more, because that's kind of like the oldest part of the US, right? And like, I was born in California, lived in Colorado, went to Louisiana one time was in an airport and a hotel in Florida, and that was it. But that's, other than that stupid Florida trip, that was the furthest east I'd ever been.
We gotta get you out, Dollar.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Well, I went really far east one time to Hong Kong, but that's that's a different east. It's actually west, technically.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that, man, because when I went out to New York the first time, yeah, man, it was definitely eye-opening. And one of the recent trips that I went out there, I went to the National Museum that sits right there by the river, right over there. Like, you can see the Statue of Liberty basically as you walk up. Yeah, that's the Hudson side. And as I was going through the museum, it was all set around the native nations that were settled there on the island before it was colonized. And it was deep, man. It was deep. So I was looking, believe it's I want to say it's the Iroquois. I want to say it's the Iroquois that was there in New York. I don't know if that's true or not. Don't quote me. Somebody Google it. I don't want to bring, shame upon my family because I wasn't able to get this right. But in there, I read a story about this gentleman called the Peacemaker and how he united the tribes together, and they buried all their weapons underneath a tree that symbolized the end of the war, and just how they built like a new culture and how they conquered this rage with this particular chieftain and conquered it with love, man. And it was pretty dope. Like the story is deep and rich, man.
And ancient.
And ancient, definitely ancient, and how it can be applied to what we do. In fact, I believe, I don't know, I think the Iroquois as well is, they kind of gave us the blueprints to how we do business with the Senate and stuff. Some of our just basic governance.
Interesting.
So,
because it makes sense, because at the time we were a brand new nation, not even a nation at that point, right? Trying to figure things out, knew we didn't like the way things were going, trying to build something different. So it makes sense we would take from who we encountered.
Yeah.
The Iroquois and the Algonquin.
Yeah,
I was just looking at that.
Hey, I was right.
Yes, you were. Yeah. The
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mike, for saving me. Oh my God. I was like, somebody on YouTube is gonna be like, blast that fool when you see her.
Yeah, it's 5 tribes actually: the Cayuga, Onondaga,
that's right,
the Seneca, Oneida, and the Mohawk.
Yes, they were all at one point in time. They all fought against each other, and the Peacemaker united them all. So it was pretty fresh, man. It's a dope tale. But, then again, like there was always a nation here. There was always a nation here. There was a people here before, before it was colonized.
Yep.
And I think I want to say, and I'm not going to speak for folks, but I think the interpretation that I have seen is that, these folks are still at war with America, which I think is true.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
It's something, put into place perpetually. It's the nature of the relationship, and honestly it's not too far off from the relationship to African Americans as well in this country. Like you can't just shake stuff off like things didn't happen the way they happened. People were mowed down here for sure, and the ones that weren't, a huge percentage died of lack of immunity, basically
disease.
All the bullshit we brought over from Europe.
Yeah, I learned that palm trees are not native to our land here.
No, they're not. Yeah.
And they're an invasive plant. I did not freaking know that.
I didn't know that either. That's
Spanish moss, palm trees, and something else. There's another
avocados are not native to here
avocados either. Definitely, yeah. I just didn't know that. I think no, banana trees are from there's banana trees here on this side of the planet. But it's just interesting how just human travel and how we make such an impact on our world, man. And then when we think about, America's history was here well before, Europeans were here. And I think that's something that always has to be recognized. And, especially when we talk about just history here in America, period.
And what's funny too is that we're talking about fairly recent history in the big scheme, because all this crazy other stuff. I started watching this Netflix documentary today. I just put it on, only watched half of the first episode. It's like 30 minutes. It's talking about the ancient, like the fact that we realize we're having to rethink history. Like when were the first human civilizations? Most people would say, it was like 4,000 years ago, 5,000. We just start to see, what was it called? Sumeria, and like there's like 3 of them, right? If I remember right. And that's traditionally the beginning of human civilization. Before that was all hunting and gathering and nomadic societies and whatever. But now we're finding these things. We find stuff that's like 9,600 years old, and it's clear evidence of a giant societies. And this is in multiple places in the world. Yeah. So he like gets into that, Graham.
Well, there's that whole fun fact we had years ago saying that Cleopatra was closer to the Stegosaurus than to the iPhone. Which is wild.
That is wild. What?
That's wild too. Yeah,
like that, I think.
Yeah, but to me, that's so interesting too, because we talk about all of the populations throughout North America, Central America, South America, and what we knew. But that's still recent history. So then you go back even further, and they think a good portion of the world was populated, and this is like during the Ice Age, but is about 9,600 years ago or whatever. So it's just interesting. It is interesting, but you can't, in the times we live in, you cannot deny that this place was, bro.
Yeah.
It is a unique place.
It is
unlike
very
any
unique.
other in the world.
Man, did you go? You obviously went to go see Lady Freedom.
Of course.
Man.
Yeah, and
I went in there, man, and like they just the first time I went there, like the museum was closed and their little special features and stuff were closed at the time.
Gotcha.
So, but this past time that we went, this was the first rotation. You went in on the second rotation.
Yes, sir.
And I went there with John Time and all the homies. And I was watching the video of how it was made and the purpose and everything, and I was like, "Fuck, I want to sign up for the army." I left there all fucking patriotic,
dude. I know, isn't it beautiful? It was so beautiful, and the thing is, people come from all over the world, to see
everywhere to see it.
So it was like every language around me, dude. Because I'm pretty damn near fluent in Spanish. There was so much Spanish, bro.
Yeah.
They were throwing me for a loop. Some of the accents, I was like, "Where are they from, dude? They don't sound like anything I've ever heard."
Dominican,
I know Spain Spanish. I know Mexican, and I know a lot of Central American. For the most part, I've met a lot of people speaking Spanish from there that I can understand. It's their accent's a little bit thicker, but then like when I heard these people, they were saying words I didn't know.
Yeah,
I was like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah. So correction. That Cleopatra is closest to the iPhone than she was to the building of the pyramids. Which is wild.
Whoa.
Well,
that
but see,
makes sense. Than the Tyrannosaurus Rex, because I was like, huh?
But no, that's
the
wild.
Pyramids are in question now too.
I know, but that's
time wise.
I'm saying that's wild though.
Yeah,
she's closest to the iPhone than she was to the building of the pyramids.
That's crazy.
Right.
Damn, no, you know what's wild though? Like
that's fucking crazy.
Because I've traveled around a lot, right? And we talk about our Native American peoples and everything like that. But like I went to China and been to their museums, and you look at their stuff, like what they had in 300 BC. I mean, they had pottery and they were painting shit blue, like using kilns and everything like that. And you can walk around here, you got arrowheads, dirt, and mud bowls. And I was like, damn, China was so ridiculously advanced as far as ancient peoples go. It was wild.
Yeah,
just the different level that they were on, and like all the things that came out of there, and you're just like, wow, dude. And even when I went to Greece in October, dude, that was wild too. All the building, the Parthenon, all that kind of stuff, dude. Like
Pantheon,
all that stuff. The what is it? The carving into the marble and everything like that. You're like, what the fuck, dude? They just did this shit with chisels and hammers.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
All day, baby. All day. Cracking away. Yeah, man. I don't know, in southwest portion of Colorado, I believe is the Anasazi is there,
the ruins,
the cliff dwellers.
Yep.
And like learning about their religious standpoint and ideology of different dimensions as they come up. Like the way they build their homes is like you're coming out of the earth in different dimensions as you go up, because they lived inside of the rock cliff walls, but also in the ground. So it was pretty fresh, man. And I mean, they had a respect for the land that we don't now, that's for sure, because a lot of their stuff was biodegradable. So, and they had that's where we should be. That's our natural environment. You know what I mean? With these four walls, and this is a discussion that I had with many of our knights, is just like, you're not supposed to be inside these boxes, man. You're supposed to be out there in the wilderness.
It's true. That's what our genetic history is.
Yeah, man. There's no connection there, man. And I feel like we're at such a great place in time where we can combine the both of them. For real. I'd live in a treehouse.
The problem has been the same for a long time, though, and that it's that there are certain human beings that are just in control of most of the shit. They control the economy. They control money. They're doing stuff behind closed doors, and it's pretty much everywhere you look. And so it creates this force. It doesn't mean, we can't shape things for ourselves. And I'm an optimistic person. I really think that we can still turn this around with our earth, because this is our mother. It's we do come from the earth. I love that Anasazis look at it that way, which I didn't know that specifically, which is pretty cool. But we do come from the earth. It's part of us. And I think that's what's lost. And that's why I've always been attracted to Buddhism too, is that it's this idea that we are all connected, not just all humans, every rock, every atom of the universe. We are all one being. And the fact that we don't look at it that way is so clear and evident, which is why it's actually super destructive to ourselves.
Well, when do we become so, what do you call that when you're an asshole? And you think you know it all?
Cocky?
Definitely cocky. I'm looking for the right word. I just don't, I need to expand my vocabulary, man. Seriously. But I think we became so vain, in our existence in this world, man. Like, when did we become, is it because we learned how to master things, a little faster than other creatures? Like, because, watching The Last of Us scares the hell out of me.
Have you seen that?
Have you seen
No.
The Last of Us? Yeah.
No, bro. The Last of Us, huh?
Basic,
It's on HBO, yeah.
Yeah, it's on HBO. It's about a fungus. There are fungus that basically create, they take control of small animals like
Oh, I
ants
know
and
about
stuff like
this.
that.
Oh, yeah.
So they're saying that, there's never, it's not going to happen. It would never, the fungus, it depends, because your
Because
body's,
our body
core body's
temperature-
at 90,
Yeah.
whatever, and it's not going to fucking grow. But if certain things changes in our environment, the fungus can change too and adapt to it.
Zombie shrooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombie shrooms.
Yeah,
man.
dude, it's so wild. We look at things in this narrow perspective of how we understand the universe, but like when you start breaking apart the fact, like the structure of the human body, and we look at it like what we know, right? We're talking about bones and muscle and all this stuff. But now what's coming out, we're starting to understand is, first of all, there's more bacteria, individual bacteria in us than there are our own cells. So we are literally more bacteria than we are human, right? And then they're discovering the vagal nerve. I mean, we know about the vagal nerve, but now we know that bacteria in your stomach directly communicates to your brain. Not only just sending simple things like cravings for the food, right? Because those bacteria want to eat the same kind of stuff over and over, but literally just kind of controlling your mind. Which is why, and they've done studies too, where they've done like, what's that called? That really, it sounds so gross, but it's like a fecal transplant, where they've taken people who are like super unhealthy, and then they take like fecal matter from the inside of a very healthy person, put inside them, and then not only does their body change, but their mindset changes, which is fucking wild when you stop and think about it.
What's fucking wild is somebody agreeing to that? Like, hey, by the way,
Yeah, we're
we
gonna
just want to
swap
test
shit.
something out. We just want to test something out. We want to open your asshole. We want to scrape it out. We want to scrape it out, and we want to put it in somebody else's asshole. But here's the other thing: that other person's asshole is going to get scraped out, and it's going to be put inside your asshole.
I'm gonna say you lost me at the first scrape.
Yeah, man. Scraping lost me.
Actually, no, maybe just
I'm
open.
still trying to get over the fact that there's that much damn bacteria in my body. So well, isn't it that like the bacteria releases gases like as it eats your stuff? So when you're farting, you're actually farting the bacteria's fart.
Yes.
That is fucking crazy.
It's not even my own fart. So I can't even be proud of it.
You can't even be proud of that. That's
Damn,
the
dude.
bacteria in your stomach. It's their farts.
Yeah, which is why
all 18 billion of them.
Food choices are so damn important, because if you're putting garbage in you, you crave more, you become a different person. It literally changes your mindset. It changes everything. And that's why it's so important, like the bacteria in your stomach. And I think like with the obesity epidemic and everything we have, people's guts are less healthy than they've probably ever been, because we're eating all this crazy artificial shit and we're changing the entire.
Well, not only that, it's socioeconomic as well, right?
For sure. Food deserts.
Yeah, food
100%,
deserts,
bro.
stuff like that. The people in those areas are definitely more obese.
Our
and less
kids are all
healthy.
about Takis. So if that hints to anything, that is for damn sure, man. So yeah, man. I'm still trying to get over the bacteria.
Yeah.
In the body.
Isn't it crazy? It's just, and that's what's so funny. And that's just on the biology front, right? With what we actually know. Who knows what the fuck we don't know? What are we gonna learn in the next 100 years? And then on top of it, then switch fields, look at physics and the fact that there's so many dimensions, and we understand this mathematically, but only 3 of them really exploded. But there's 9 or more. What the fuck? What?
Only we can comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we walk around just like, I'm so important, bro.
Meanwhile, we could be walking past some pretty crazy creatures in a different dimension that we're a part of.
Right.
So that's always one of my things. I've always wanted to make like a movie. And now this is on the podcast. So it's technically copyrighted because it's on our podcast.
Yeah, it's true.
is I've always wanted to do a movie with the perspective of ghosts instead of us. That like we're fucking up their world. Like they're just trying to like live around in Tony's house.
No, there is a
And,
movie like that.
And there's no.
There is. Yes. Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yes, there is.
Really?
Called?
Yes. I forget what the name of it is, but what's her name? Nicole Kidman's in it.
No,
she has
the,
two
the
children.
others.
Yeah, the others. That's the same
No,
concept.
It was kind of
That's the same
but
concept.
like comedy.
Come
not
on,
like
Mike. Oh,
not
you
like
want
that.
comedy?
Because I wanted to be like Tony and his family are in the kitchen and like moving stuff around and like the other family's like, what the fuck,
like,
dude?
what the hell's
like,
going
God
on?
Damn
in
it!
I just put that jar of mayonnaise there.
It's sitting in my lap again. This dollar.
I can't. Yeah, I can't
can
find
see
it.
that.
All I'm finding is like the classic ones. Like
What?
Patrick Swayze.
No, the others. It's called the others.
It's called the movie.
Yeah,
it is.
It's called
Okay.
the others.
Yeah.
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 So, but that's what I was saying.
Wasn't that an M. Night Shyamalan joint?
I think so. And there's also another movie that's kind of like that. It's, what was it Coraline? Right?
Oh, Coraline.
Other Coraline.
Yeah.
Other mother.
Dude, that freaked me out, man.
That's a
I
weird
was
movie for
watching that
kids,
with
bro.
my kids, and
That's
I was
a weird
like,
movie for
"Yo,
kids,
that,
right?"
That screwed my head up. I was like, "What are we watching?
Yeah.
Why?" Oh, and then Pan's Labyrinth, man.
Yeah.
That fucked me up.
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, this is Spanish acclaim."
So, Dollar, you don't have to even drink kombucha anymore. What I can do is at the end of every day, I'll just spit into a cup for you, and then you can just drink the spit because it's technically.
Yeah, that's a great
Bacteria.
idea, Pierce.
That's a great idea.
It's a beautiful idea.
Mix it in with your coffee.
I left my coffee sitting
Saliva
upstairs.
transplant.
Man.
You know, I think, guys, I need an intervention. You saw me drinking coffee when you came in,
Yeah.
right?
Is it decaf?
Bro, no.
Oh, okay.
And I made a cup up there that I forgot to bring down. God was looking out for me. He was like, bro, leave the coffee alone. I had 3 coffees today, not the giant ones, 3 small ones, well, 3 regular size ones. But you're not supposed to really
Like
go.
black, straight black. No cream, no
one was
sugar.
black. I put oat milk in one.
Okay.
And
a little oat milk.
yeah, and oat milk in the other one. So 2 with oat milk and 1 with what did I just say? What did I put in it?
Nothing.
Keep switching.
Nothing.
Oh yeah,
The
black.
black.
Cold brew. Because
Cold-
Fee hooked me
okay.
up with
Fee did?
for my birthday, because my birthday was last week. And so he showed up with a jug of cold brew. I was like,
Hell
this is bad for me. I'm already at 2 cups today. Gotta have it.
Man, you got to, man.
Just one cup.
Just the
One
life
cup a day,
sucked
not
out of
a-
you.
Well, New York messed me up because of the time change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah, coming back.
definitely.
Yeah.
So what stuck out to you in New York, though?
What's what?
What popped out? What vibe was it?
Yeah.
You
Oh.
were saying it was the language. You were saying like all of that.
Oh
And
man.
then I
You said it
like
was
then I got all
fast-paced.
serious with my,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. The history was crazy, how jam-packed it was, like so many people. And at first I was like turned off by the lack of like politeness, because I'm like a super
You
know
were
what I mean?
turned off by the politeness of
beginning.
New Yorkers.
Only at the no, turned off by the lack of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the beginning.
That's the
But as
culture.
time went
Fast
on,
paced, Dollar.
yeah, but as time went on, I started to appreciate it, because I was like, there's something super authentic about this.
Mhm.
And I love Colorado, bro. It made me love Colorado so much. I was like, I fucking love Colorado. But I grew up in California, where I would say it's like the polar opposite of
Oh
New
yeah,
York.
that's fine.
It's like everybody's smiling and everything's great. My life's beautiful. Everything's perfect. New York is like, what the fuck do you want? It's like, yes.
I got
yeah,
I got somewhere to be
feel
over
that.
there. I got somewhere to be, brother.
What are you
Yeah.
doing over here?
What's going on over there?
I remember me and Maya were like high-fiving 2 times. We were like, dude, we got good customer service, where we like we're talking to the person, wherever they gave us our thing.
Mhm.
And then they were like, have a good one. And you were like,
Yeah.
did they just say a positive thing? Thank you, sir.
Man, I remember sitting in a cafe near Times Square, and I did not get served, man. And it was because I was wearing a shamak, a little Muslim little shamak over my shoulders when I was
Really?
visiting New York City. And what's so crazy is, it's the trauma from 9/11, man. It's deep. It runs deep, man. Like all the different connections that people have there in that city to that one event. You know what I mean? When I walked through the city in my uniform, I was treated like a king, which was freaking great. It was amazing. And when folks know that you're in the military, dude, they'll bend over backwards for you to try to, get you to where you need to be. Perfect example. We're going to go out to Liberty Island with Giant Time and all the homies.
Mhm.
And, Jiner he's a survivalist. And he had his blade on him. And as we were going through security, because you went through it.
Yep.
Like they shake your ass down.
Yep.
Like I
Just
thought
like
I was
the
gonna have to
airport.
do a
Yep.
fucking duck walk, like
Mhm.
open my ass up for them. And
That's twice in the same episode. We talk about open up the ass.
yeah, basically.
We're at our limit. Just at the limit, just letting you know. I'm sorry. go
But
ahead.
so they confiscated his knife, and I was like, yo. They were like, the only way that you're going to be able to get this thing is if you're like a cop or you're in the military. So I whipped out my military ID, and they were like, cool, we'll hold it for you.
Did that come
that
through
it?
on here?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Is that it? Is that the time?
No.
Done talking about New York?
Time to move to the next
Yeah,
topic.
All right.
No.
more ass popping for me.
No, it was that. I was really moved by the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
It got me really fired up
Yeah.
too, and just everything that it stood for. And you're standing there hearing languages from all over the world, and people it's a beautiful thing, man. And it made me just really. I am proud to be American, and that's a thing that is hard to say sometimes, because what is America and what is America perceived as in other places? But for me, I didn't get a choice, bro. I was born here. This is what I know. And when you look at what we were founded on, it's beautiful. Where we are now, I don't know. Where are we?
I agree, man. I'm proud to be an American. There's no doubt about that. There's no one else more American than I. You know what I'm saying? And I think that goes for a lot of, that goes for a lot of folks, man. A lot of black and brown folks. So
yeah.
God, there's always like this. It sucks because like now, like if I'm rolling and I got my American flag out or something, they're like, oh, he's a Trumper or something. I'm like, whoa. when did this symbol get robbed in that manner? Like now it's like a sign of hate.
Hijacked. Yeah, it's not
and
hijacked.
I like that. I do not like that whatsoever.
Yeah, I hate that too. And I hate that people give
kills
into
me,
it,
man. Yeah.
where they give into it and they're like, yeah, I'm like, no. The flag doesn't belong to anybody in particular. It belongs to our whole nation.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what creed you are, doesn't matter what belief, what gender, whatever you are. If you are here, you're American, That's your flag.
Yeah.
It's nobody can wear it and have an assumption. Even the eagle I decided to get on my arm. Sometimes that gets misperceived. I'm a white guy walking around with an eagle. It sends a message, but I'm like, bro.
And they're like, that dude's got all types of guns in his truck.
He probably got a shotgun on his Harley.
Which is hilarious because I don't know nothing about guns, man. I always talk about trying to learn with you.
Yeah, man. It's always on the table. I think it's good to exercise. It's one of our many rights here, just like we're exercising one right now.
I was talking to Maya about this. I just think I would like to know how to handle a gun. I would like to know how to shoot a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't.
You've never gone shooting, Dollar?
Never, bro. Oh. I've never fired a firearm before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had a couple experiences with firearms on the wrong end of stuff, but
the downrange part.
Yeah. But yeah, so
really, okay.
I think it's a skill definitely good to have. I don't think it should be like super porno like our culture has like formed this thing into.
Like, have you ever seen the Jim Jeffries special when he's talking about guns?
No.
So Jim Jeffries is like that Australian, and he's talking about that. He's like, he's from Australia, right? And in Australia they banned guns completely, right? And he was the one thing I hate when you guys come over here. When I come over here, when someone talks about your fucking guns, everyone's like, oh, no, don't take my fucking guns from me. I'm a responsible gun owner. It's like, he's like, let's be real. He goes, you guys aren't going to, he goes like, well, what do you need the gun for? Home security, personal protection. And he's like, okay. He's like, I've never heard of any home security or personal protection conventions. He's like, you're going to a fucking gun convention.
A gun show. Yeah.
He's like, you're going to a gun convention. And he's like, just like, you're not on the cover of like Padlock Weekly, be like, yes, freedom. I got everything safe. He goes, no,
that's such a crazy subject, man.
Yeah, but he's like talking about that. He's like, he's like, just admit it. You just want your fucking guns just to have your guns. Yeah. He goes, just say that.
Yeah.
He goes, he's like, talking about the gun safety and everything like that. He's like, well, what happens if somebody comes in your house? Well, you better watch out. We got fucking guns all in the safe. Oh, how are you gonna get those guns? He's like, if somebody comes over, oh fucking A, someone's breaking in. What's the number of the code again? God damn it! If I open up this safe, you're fucked. He's like,
yeah.
And then he was talking about the statistic of most gun owners,
responsible gun owners,
unresponsible,
Yeah.
irresponsible gun owners that statistically they're more likely to kill someone within their family or someone else is going to kill within their family because it's unlocked or whatever.
Yeah, man. It's conflicting. Our culture was shaped off of it here in America, though. That the gun,
and you got tons of little ones at your house. I'm pretty sure
I do. My shit is strapped up, hidden, locked. Yes, if somebody came in, I'm going to be stabbing the fuck out of them first.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. I will blade the hell out of somebody in my house, like Rambo.
I am like,
before I can get to my rifle or my gun. Okay, it's going to take a while. But I get it. I feel like because of my gun ownership, it's more of a byproduct of what I was doing for the past, 15 years, man. I remember waking up at night sometimes and I would like reach over for my M16 and it wasn't there because it was a part of me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think for me and a lot of other veterans, I feel like it's an identity, no doubt. And it's just, I think it's a byproduct too of just, that was just a part of your life for however long you were in the service,
And it's not just any part, right? It's a crucial part of your life.
It's a crucial part, man. I spent the majority of my, 20s and 30s fighting overseas.
Yeah. Well, that was one time I think I've told this on the podcast. One of my homies, he was over in Bahrain and he's an MA in the Navy. And one day it was like 2:00 in the morning. And all of a sudden I get a phone call from him, his overseas number and the 00 number. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like hearing him talk. And I'm like, and then I heard like another, like an Arab voice, like yelling, and I hear him yelling at her. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Are you okay? Bro, are you okay? And he's like, oh shit. You can hear him go, oh shit. He's like, sorry, dude. He's like, my M16 must have called you because he always held his cell phone in
right on
his front
chest.
patch.
Yeah.
So he's like, when he walked, it was always like tapping against him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. Technology has changed the battlefield, man, drastically. In fact, I'm scared to step out on a modern battlefield right now. Like the Ukrainians are giving the Russians like a good lesson in tactics and maneuverability and just command structures and how the Russians used to run their stuff, how it's like inadequate. The top down shit doesn't work. The Ukrainians we trained them, man. I remember being at Fort Leonard Wood training Ukrainians. And that wasn't that long ago. That was like 5 or 6. That was like 7 or 8 years ago when I was in Fort Leonard Wood.
Well, because you talked about that before, but that was before the current conflict. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. And seeing that they're kicking ass, but they're also taking casualties, man.
Yeah.
Like on both sides. It's like a freaking meat grinder.
Yeah.
I could only imagine being in a foxhole in Ukraine and just gunning down Russians, just gunning them down, like just in droves. And that's what's going on. They're trying to deplete the hell out of their ammunition. They're using these cats really as cannon fodder, period, with their tactics. But again, they're gunning down, prisoners and stuff that were thrown into this madness to get munched up.
Yep. Prisoners that were promised freedom if
they survived, which I'm sure some did. But yeah, I would not take that. Hell no. But yeah, oh my God. Why am I taking dark spins here, man? I've been doing it all night. I'm so sorry.
We turn the light on.
Turn that light on.
Oh, you're gonna mess that camera up now.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm curious what it looks like. Oh, no, look bad.
You sure? Let's keep it in the dark.
We'll keep it dark. Yeah.
I'll try to be a little more spirited. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. So talk to me about what you've been up to, because it's been now we've talked off the podcast, but I don't think we've talked on the podcast about
we haven't.
Kind of like the trajectory and the progress of your, I don't know what you call it, your career
journey. I guess it's a journey. I guess I wouldn't say career, a journey for sure.
Yeah, career's the wrong word.
I would say after the Army, looking for purpose, and I found it in a child that was looking for help.
I love this story. We're going way back. This was what was the first
back.
episode he was on? Do you know Pierce? In the 20s or 30s, maybe?
Look here.
Yeah, it's okay.
But that little guy who's now he's getting ready to be a young man, but I've wanted to try to change his trajectory. But he was facing a lot of problems, man. A lot of problems, and he still is. But I have every faith in him that with the experiences that he's been gaining, that he'll look back to the investments that were put in him and start, changing things for himself.
And for listeners who don't know the story, it was this young man that in elementary at the time.
Yeah, he was a third grader, man. Big afro, little short, little dude.
Yeah, you should retell it.
And brother Jeff put out a little thing on Facebook. God, this was a while ago. I want to say 8 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Black Men for Education in the far Northeast, in particular DCISF Ford. And the statistics were pretty bad for a lot of the Black boys that were there at the school, as far as like in-school suspensions and stuff like that. Went there, the principal was having issues with this little guy. And I mean, if there were wanted posters in the school, his face would have been on it, man, for real. He was dealing with a lot of trauma, and you could tell. And when we came up on this guy, he was cussing out everybody, telling them they're racist, N-word this, F-word. He's talking like a 30-year-old sailor. And, changed the atmosphere when myself and my friend Steve walked up on him. And, we talked to him, whatever. And he used my words, like he threw them back at me. He was like, Staff Sergeant Mac, you can tell me I can make it from A to Z, but you're not going to be here to show me.
Yeah.
And it freaking that was my epiphany.
Yeah, because that's the thing. People, it's like a revolving door.
Yeah.
Just people come in, they help for a little while, and then they're gone. But these kids and the people in this community, that's their community, man. They're not going anywhere.
Nope.
And so it changed you. But I and I'm kind of known for being super cheesy because I just am, man. I am. And I'm just so fucking grateful. Like from where I came from the time I was a kid to where I'm at right now in my life, the struggles I've gone through both as a man and then just overcoming trauma, which we've talked a lot about, everything from therapy to just introspection to talking to family members and like trying to re-find accurate versions of history, because sometimes in your mind you lose track, especially when you're a traumatized kid. You don't know what really happened. So spending all that time, it was you, which we all know, that really was here and made me think of stopping everything I was doing and going into education.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
Teaching kids. It is really wild, but I'm just so thankful to you. And I'm a very God believing man. And I think that there was no accident. We crossed paths. And I think it was meant to be, because the reason the short of this is just, I'm fucking happier than I've ever been in my life. And I feel like I have purpose. Maybe for the first time in my life, I have real purpose that resonates deep inside my soul. I wake up excited to go to work every day. I'm fucking run ragged. I'm tired all the time. I'm exhausted. It's not an easy job. It's really hard, but I've never been happier. And now that because the first year was a nightmare. The first year made me wonder if I made a mistake, because I think it does that to everybody.
Yeah,
it chews you up a little bit.
Everybody who comes in, especially the school that you serve. And, you're dealing with traumatized students.
Yeah.
It's a Title I school.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard group of kiddos to teach.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so funny about it now is because like now I'm getting comfortable with the job itself, and it's always got its new challenges, and you just got to get flexible and stuff. And so I'm getting more used to that. And now I'm just starting to settle in, because what has happened almost on accident is the deep love and connection to the community there, and just falling in love with these kids, bro. And just like watching them. And then now I've taught multiple siblings of bigger and older brothers and sisters, and met family members that I know the parents now, like we definitely know each other like on a first name basis, and all of that wasn't planned, but it just happened. I literally thought I was going to serve 1 year at Lake. Oh, I'll bleep that out.
No, you're fine.
It is what it is. Like you said, people are gonna
know it. You don't have to be a Sherlock Holmes to figure out where this man works right now.
It's so true. It's true. But I'm trying to only put love out there, so it is what it is, man. But yeah, like I don't know, man. I'm just happy and I'm grateful that we crossed paths. And I tell you this all the time, but I really mean it, man. Like I'm so happy that it ended up the way it did, because it was almost just like random.
Yeah.
Like it just happened to be, we met each other through the podcast through Mike. This guy right here, bro. Because of this guy who went to school with you. We met
back in Aurora Hills Middle School,
bro.
Oh my God. And now we're in middle school again.
Well, it was funny because we were talking about it before you got on. we were talking about like, lifting weights and stuff like that, and how he was like talking about you. He's like, yeah, he's like, Lacey's still a fucking beast. I was like, it's like Lacey's like the same size as he was in middle school. And Tony's like, that's my fear, dude. He's like, that I'm gonna get a middle schooler that's gonna be as big as Lacey one day. Like
they walk the hallways. There's no doubt about
Bro.
that. There are middle schoolers that are bigger than me right now at our school. So
there's some big dudes.
yeah, there's some big guys in there.
There is a funny story I was telling Mike. I wanted to bring it up tonight because I don't know if me and you have talked about this at all, but one of our coworkers, one of our really big, strong coworkers, shared this.
I already know who it is.
He shared this story with me that somebody was saying something about, Lacey can easily lift, and the story was funny because it wasn't you saying it. It doesn't sound like saying Lacey can easily bench 300 plus pounds, like no problem. And then the conversation was, there was a challenge, it sounds like.
Yes, there was a challenge. You might as well have slapped me in the face with a freaking glove.
And this is a very large, strong man, for sure.
It's a big man. Yeah.
And so he challenged you and you went in, and I don't know, I was told 400. I don't know if that's accurate. Or
no.
We
just threw 315 on there.
Oh, it's 315.
Okay. We're in middle school, so it's not like that we have too many weights to put on there. So I was like, let's throw like 315 on and let's just rip it out, whatever. And,
and the way he shared the story was,
what did he say?
He said, I said, and let me guess, he repped it out like 15 times. And he was like, bro. And then I said, how'd it go for you? And he goes, let's just say it didn't go as well for me. And I left it alone. I didn't ask any more questions after that.
Man, he's recovering too physically. So, I give my man some modesty. Yo, he's a good man though. He's got a big heart.
Yeah.
Big heart.
No, but your strength is freakish sometimes.
It's some weird genetic stuff, man. I don't know what it is. Yeah. That's what you get with a Blaxican mix, man, I guess.
Blaxican.
Yeah.
It's a good genetics, bro.
No, but I did want to say, man, I really do appreciate it. Your words are very kind, man. And love liberates. And if you found that purpose, man, that's freaking amazing.
As somebody who struggled to find it for a long time, Pierce knows I was trying to do everything but the job I was doing every day. That's all I knew. I didn't want to do what I was doing, but I never could figure it out, bro. And then when that happened, it was like almost like an accident. Just everything came into place. And I was so far right before I became a teacher. I was nowhere even close, dude. I hadn't finished a bachelor's degree. Nothing. So I had to go back, finish the bachelor's degree, get a teaching license, get a master's degree, like while I'm teaching. It was just intense, but here we are.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna do it the rest of my life.
You better write a freaking book, bro. Give it to these youngsters coming out of college, be like, yo, here's my book, here's my journey, take a look.
College is all I think about for these guys, or like, actually that's not true, but just future, where these kids are headed.
I'm thinking about the future, definitely. So that's why we're doing what we do, baby. Especially in middle school, man, because I feel like that age, and I mean, you can even definitely moldable, and you're at such a critical time biologically, because you're like your hormones are changing, like you're literally growing into an adult. And I feel that time is so critical. If anything, history shows it too. Like you look at the Lakota. Like they have their learning circles, and it's around this age, like around 12 and stuff, where they start to go. You go out into the woods, and you have your spiritual journey to find out what you're going to be. Are you going to be the shaman? Are you going to be the farmer? Are you going to be the warrior? Are you going to be the chieftain?
Right.
Like, and the things that it takes to be that, and they're set on that course. And a lot of our babies, they want to be TikTok influencers.
I hear that. So I've told you that. Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
That was one of the fun facts. Is that they did a poll, like a national poll, and the number one job for Gen Z, right? That's what it is. The number one job for Gen Z.
They're Zers?
Yeah, I think so, right?
I don't know.
Or are they
anyways
Gen A? Because
the Zers
does it reset
that are coming up? I don't know.
They're young as heck.
Yeah. But anyways,
I don't even think
their number one job was like, it was astounding. It was like 65% of them wanted to be influencers. 65%, bro.
What's so interesting about that to me is that it's like an empty thing, right? Influencing in what way, right? That's what's so funny, is that it's just looked at now as like, I'm an influencer. So whatever I choose to put out there is, what I'm in, how I'm influencing, as opposed to thinking about like, what's your message and influence. Let's think about where we're coming from. What are we trying to actually do? influence is just an action, bro. Like what direction is it going in? Influencing them to do what?
Man. I have many theories about that particular thing. I think one of them, especially with TikTok, is, our adversaries made that program. And if you're in China, the algorithm is, if you're doing something that revolves around science, or you're doing something that revolves around like deep thinking and, things of that nature, that's what, you get the bump up for that. You get the likes, the positive response, the dopamine from that, right?
Yeah.
But here in America,
Yep.
it's like,
It's a
if you
different
act
formula.
more the fool, if you're shaking your ass, or you're doing something extremely dangerous and there's nothing creative in that nature, like, you get likes for that. You get that dopamine hit from that.
Mhm.
And I feel like COVID-19 has just reinforced that so bad, man. We lost 2 years with our students, man. And that
Yeah.
might as
Yep.
well be a decade that we
Right.
lost with our students. You can see it in the hallways right now, man. You can see for the folks that are watching, I'm sure if they have children, they can see it within their children that there's something going on here. And we haven't really calculated the impact of all of us being in isolation for that period of time.
Mhm.
Like, I'm pretty sure like that we can pull it. I'm not trying to be anecdotal, but if we were to look up statistics on like divorce and, suicides and stuff, I'm pretty sure it went up exponentially with us being in isolation for such a long time. We're pack animals. We're supposed to be in a herd. Like that's just how we are.
Oh yeah, and no problem Googling what you're talking about. It's all over the place. There's a BBC article immediately that I found why the pandemic is causing spikes in breakups and divorces.
Yeah, man.
Right off the top. So yeah, I mean, there's no doubt COVID had a huge impact, bro.
It did.
And what freaks me out is that we're silly if we think it's the last time something like that's gonna happen,
man.
bro.
No.
More stuff like that's coming. But
look at our extreme weather patterns and look at
everything,
come on now.
dude. I know.
Like, who's still selling that, there is no such thing as climate change? Like, who's still selling that, man?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't have a really good relationship with my dad. Okay. And the last time I spoke with him, he's a Trumper, which kind of blew my mind as being a black man from the South, that he would, support Trump, but he does. And again, he's like, well, when the dinosaurs were around, there was a bunch of volcanoes and stuff. I'm like, nah, man, the volcanoes are natural. Those are all natural. Okay. I was like,
wasn't
man,
spouting out plastics.
Yeah.
Wasn't spouting out plastic lava, like molten plastic.
And then I'm like, God, when are these dinosaurs going to die off? But their ideology still survives. And that's what
it's more
dangerous.
A little bit more radical now.
Yeah, it is extremely radical, where you got folks, storming the Capitol and thinking that it's not seditious. There's still people in government that were a part of that, and they're making decisions for us now.
Mhm.
And they were a part of the Seditious Act.
Yeah.
So like back in our founding fathers days, they would have been strung out.
Yep, for
Hung
sure,
up.
bro.
Hung up for sure.
Damn sure.
Yeah, it's over. So yeah, I don't know, man. And it's weird how you just look in every direction. It's hard to not take it into dark places, right?
What am I doing? I'm doing it again.
It's okay because, well, it's the nature of the reality. We're in, like, literally dark clouds over Ohio right now. You seen this?
Yeah.
You seen this?
Yeah.
Which is, there's so many things crazy about this. For the listeners, I'm talking about the train wreck, right? The train was derailed. Last week had some super poisonous shit in it.
Chlorine.
Yep. Spilled, in addition to other things,
Yeah.
spilled. There was a decision made to avoid a giant explosion to go ahead and burn it off.
Mm-hmm.
They burn it off, creates these out of this world apocalyptic looking clouds, bro. These thick ass black clouds that just it looks like the sky on Venus or something. It's really crazy. So there's so many things here. Like, one was just, holy shit, what are these people doing? Like, do we not understand what's happening to our planet already? The fact that we're doing this. But additionally, we transport all this stuff all the time on these tracks across,
not just tracks,
all sorts of ways on the roads,
fly it in the air. Yeah.
But the tracks concern me because they can be tampered with.
Yes.
Right. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of tracks in all kinds of directions,
Yes.
way more than we could ever monitor. And it's not monitored. There's no cameras on this shit.
Mhm.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Because I thought about, I hate to say it, knock on wood, but I thought about Columbine. You see something, and all of a sudden people realize, oh, right.
Yeah.
So it just scares me that these trains are constantly traveling around all the time. Yes, on the roads as well. But the trains concern me because they're just on autopilot. I mean, they're just fucking cruising down these things going super fast. Somebody messes it up, and you have this giant chemical spill.
In fact, there was a recent another train wreck that within the last week, I want to say.
I was going to tell you. No, I was going to say that Joe Dub actually was had commented before that there's actually been like I want to say like 150% more train derailments than there are days so far. So it's like what we're in like the 40th, so the 50th day in the year, right?
So these
something
are
like this, and there's 1,044 derailments that have already happened this year.
Wow, this year?
Yeah.
what?
No, wait,
That's
no, that's for
pretty wild.
2022. Sorry.
Okay. Well,
But
wait,
still-
wait, hold
but still,
on.
that's a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, so
Is this just like the first one that was a big chemical spill?
I think
or has
that,
this
yes.
happened?
Yeah.
before?
Yeah. In fact, there was
What was
a
that?
movie about this too, about a derailment in Ohio.
yeah,
in the Ohio
1,044
River
Really?
Valley. Yeah.
1,044 train derailments in the dot reported in 2022.
That's wild, man.
In the 1980s, there's more than 3,000 a year.
That's crazy, man.
It's like trains just coming off tracks and shit. It's like
that's just how it is, baby.
it's just
That's train, baby. Trains come
Wow.
off the track.
White Noise is the name of this movie you were
Mhm.
talking about?
yeah, with Michael Keaton.
White noise. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
After Ohio train derailment, East Palestine residents are living the plot of. Oh, okay. Never mind. This is different.
Oh, that's
the actual story there.
actual story.
But White Noise is
But
the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Interesting.
It's pretty wild, man. Life imitating art imitating life.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
the AI stuff,
Oof.
where we are with AI right now,
That shit
this
is
crazy.
freaky.
We are on the verge of
Thanks,
something.
Microsoft Bing.
Yeah, this is just going to be a dark one, I guess.
No. Honestly, all right. Back in the day, yeah, I was frightened as hell because whenever I think about AI, I always think about Terminator. Okay, that was like
Skynet.
Skynet
Yeah,
taking
right.
over. That's it. How am I gonna move around the country with 5 boys, 2 dogs, and a wife? You know what I mean? In a
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic world. Like how far can I make? Because ultimately, like our basic instinct is to survive.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, we're going to reset us.
Yeah,
here.
reset us, bro.
It's Friday. It's first of all, it's Friday. It's a 3-day weekend for most of us.
Hey, that's good.
For us teachers, we also have a teacher day on Tuesday, which is like
That's right.
the second most relaxing thing besides having a day off.
Mhm.
Honestly, you get time to really just
Yeah,
work and
work.
stuff. So we're in a good place. The girls are going to California. They are
Mhm.
actually flying out in about an hour. They'll be leaving the airport, going to California. It's just me and the boy for the weekend.
Dude, that's fresh.
Hell yeah, it's
That's
fresh.
man.
He started talking about I'm going with my friends here. I said, okay, hold on. I need some time. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta give me
you
some
wanna
time this
go
weekend.
Pick up those weights. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he's still working out real
I
consistently.
know, man. He's beast moding it. I gave him some congratulations, man. I saw him toss up a bunch of weight recently. So
Oh yeah, he's getting strong. He
man.
sure is, bro.
Roots are deep in that one. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So see, we're on the verge of a
I
good
like that.
weekend. You got a 3-day weekend, yes,
that.
Pierce?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell
What are you gonna
yeah.
do? I heard it's supposed to be like 60 degrees on Monday too, by the way.
On Monday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, it's gonna
I'm
be a
going to,
muddy mess.
Going to a golf simulator with my buddy Tim on Monday.
Hey,
Oh,
what?
that's cool.
Golf simulator,
Oh, what's that?
indoor golf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh,
can't
neat.
Can't play outside.
That's cool.
There's snow everywhere.
How does that
So-
work? Do you hit the ball and
Yeah, it's just a projected mat screen and the mat, and you just bring your clubs and
so the ball actually goes somewhere though, right? When you hit it?
yeah, you're
physically?
hitting it. You're hitting it a regular ball like you would
Yeah.
anything else.
It
Mm.
hits the
So-
screen. The screen.
Projects it.
Projects
like
it
would be,
out.
Yeah.
But you don't like see it like hit the screen and fall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So it's almost like a video game ish.
It is.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Okay. Okay.
It's a
Gotcha.
simulator.
Augmented
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if anything.
Simulator.
How's that?
So, yeah.
These newfangled contraptions. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, so good note.
Okay.
The journey. All right.
The journey.
It's not career, but
Yeah.
journey.
Yes.
Um,
True.
I'm a commissioner now for the Denver Healthy Foods for Kids here in Denver. Mayor's office said, "Hey, let's see what this man can do." So that's been interesting. I'm sitting on a commission I'm sitting on another board for Big Green. It's called the Big Green DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. It's all Web3 stuff, but ultimately what it comes down to is, growing food, making just making life more healthier for our kids, man, for the future.
Yeah.
Growing food changes lives.
Started with that Project Exodus, man. That
that's
community garden.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And, if you are out there a believer of anything, especially in the Catholic sense, everything started in the garden. Our whole story started in the garden. So that is my church. But it's been quite the journey. The hard work that we put in over at Lake Middle School. Dang, you just committed. We just committed to it. I'm down with it. But the hard work over there, man, over the past few years, and especially through COVID, opened up a lot of eyes for folks when I went to go speak to Big Green, because one of our teachers reached out to them to bring a garden to our school. And that's how I met this gentleman named Kimball Musk.
The Kimball Musk.
And that was
Elon's brother.
Quite a journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking I must have impressed him in the speech that I gave at it was a fundraising event for Big Green. And I told him I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't raise money for these guys unless I'm talking about Lake. I want to talk about Lake. I want to talk about the people there. I want to talk about our kids there. Yes, of course, having the garden there with Big Green definitely changed some things, but ultimately, it's about our kids.
Yeah.
At the bottom line, that's it. And sharing that, the story there, it must have impressed Kimball and his people.
You think?
And they're like, "Yo, let's get this dude up on this board." And I got whisked away to different places in the country. I went on a trip down to Miami, Florida not too long ago. In fact, right before you went down to New York.
Yep.
And it was pretty fresh. I got to see what a food forest was, like a real food forest.
Okay.
I'm talking about you walk in, and if you were to walk in and start eating and then go out on the other side, you're going to leave full. You know what I mean? Like bananas growing on trees, berries, everything's all natural.
In a controlled environment, though. It's like a warehouse.
Well, I mean, no, it's
outside.
It's outside.
Oh,
wow.
Outside. And it's set up to where the food garden kind of manages itself.
Okay.
Of course, with the aid of students and folks will manage it or whatever, but it's built around it maintaining itself.
All organic and everything,
naturally,
stuff like that. Okay,
so not like in rows or some stuff like that.
Okay,
it's if it's growing here, let it grow there.
Let it do its thing.
Yeah, let it do its thing. And it's so crazy because we can't grow too much stuff here in Colorado. But down in Florida,
I guess it depends.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say in the cold of winter.
Oh,
naturally,
year
round.
True. Okay.
You cannot go outside
Unless you're on the western slope.
Yeah, but sure. Even there, it's treacherous and cold. Okay.
Yeah.
But down in that Florida temperature, man, like bananas everywhere. Dragon fruit. I got to literally see a dragon fruit plant because my guys love dragon fruit, and I saw it growing in the armpit of a tree, up there. And I was like, dang, how did you guys get it up there? It's like, we didn't put it there. Nature did that. The birds come down, they'll eat the fruit. They fly up there, they poop or whatever. The seeds are in their poop and it grows on the tree. And I was like, wow. Oh, that's freaking fresh. I was like, that's dope. And then just all the natural cures and amenities and the health benefits of eating all these fresh fruits and herbs that are just provided to you just openly, man. I met this gentleman, I think his name is Dr. Wilson or something of that nature. It's the second largest Black populated area in the South other than Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm talking about they have the most land ownership there. Doctors, graduates are in this particular area of Florida, of Miami, Florida. I think it's called Miami City or something of that nature. It's I want to say northwest of Miami. And there's a gentleman there that basically, like, he was the mayor at one point in time, but he had created a food forest of himself too, in this community to service, our the elderly population there. And I mean, as he spoke, like, I was mystified by this man. Like, I was hanging off every word that he had said. I can't remember his name, but I do remember his face. Let me pull it up, because I took a bunch of pictures.
That's fresh though,
obviously.
dude. Seeing all that stuff like that. I'm a big fan of that too.
Was it Tallahassee?
No, it
No.
wasn't up in Tallahassee. It's literally in Miami,
Okay.
and it's like a suburb of Miami, basically. Let's see if I can pull this up. I know I got a picture of him.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the map too. I don't know.
His name.
How long ago was that you were out there?
January 17th.
Oh, 1 month ago. Yeah, February 17th today.
Dang, I got a picture with him. I just don't know his name.
It's all good though.
That sucks. I'll find it out. But this gentleman right here. That gentleman right there, man. Like, I hung on to everywhere. He's about as tall. He's like 6'7" or something like that.
Oh, wow.
He's the tree himself. He's huge. And I mean, he's extremely smart, knows about growing food. He has all types of degrees and doctorates. And I mean, for me, it's really rare to be in the presence of a man of color with so much like knowledge like that. I'm talking about real knowledge.
Yeah.
And just willing to share that, and it was just, I was mystified being in his presence. And I really wanted to, like, man, I was like, man, I wish I could grow some of this stuff here in Colorado. Like, how would I make that happen here, where if I, have the kids go through this forest of food and forage for their food, like local plants that are out there in the wilderness that you could survive off of,
Right.
which I think is super important. What a great piece of knowledge to have, right? Because calories and water, food and water are extremely important. When you leave the city, that's extremely important. You think about it, think about how many times you snack on stuff, how many times you drink things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When you're out in the wilderness, dude, that's extremely important.
Oh yeah, right. Unless you've got a setup like that too, good luck. Man.
Yeah.
Good luck just finding food, randomly out there. What are your I'm curious about your thoughts too, because I've been kind of getting into this, noticing how much we know about our soil in America and how overworked it's been and how nutrient deficient it is. How do we deal with that in the future? Because right now we know scientifically that our food is less nutritious than it's ever been before, which is largely attributable to the fact that we've just over farmed everything, factory farmed everything. And
it's so crazy that you say that, man.
Yeah.
So it's called soil regenerative practices. And I just not too long ago really got into that with Mr. May. I don't know if you guys know this spot, but it's on I-70. It's called May Farms. You drive by it all the time when you go down I-70.
I played a show there once. Yeah. They had like somehow, I don't remember how I booked that one. Yeah.
So I got to sit down with Mr. May not too long ago, actually, because I want to do some projects with him out there at his farm, and I'm hoping to have him come out to Lake, man, to take him on a tour. But he was saying that the future of farming is really in like regenerative soils practices. And he was talking to me about just how long we've been just overworking the soil and basically killed all the natural bacteria in there that was already there, right?
Right.
So the buffalo would provide that, especially here in the plains.
Do you see it's that bacteria again, by the way?
Bacteria. Hey, I never question
it. It's a bacteria-centered universe we're living in.
It is. We need it. But that is how we've been able to, how fruitful this area was because of our connection to the buffalo, which made the grasslands so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, the grass here would grow like freaking stupid tall.
Right.
Not now, obviously, because we screwed that up.
Yeah.
So now he's like, the future of farming is in regenerative soil practices. And he was like, if you're talking to students that are thinking about getting into farming or anything of that nature, he was like, man, that is That's where you need to
That's
be.
where it's at, huh?
And even like so we're talking about AI and stuff like that. You know, farm hands are going to be a thing of the past one day because everything can be done pretty much by robots, man. And you just need folks to do maintenance on the robots.
There was an actual, as you said that, I read this article about AI bots that they're developing for cultivating and harvesting farms and indoor grow houses and stuff like that,
Interesting.
where they have the ability to check out pigment of certain fruits and peppers and everything like that, and they'll pick them based on what is in their database.
Yeah, their database for ripeness.
And leave it there if it's not, and they can determine when like a plant is dying, or if it has a fungus, anything like that, and they can like point it out and do the right treatments for them and everything like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some fresh. Well, it's fresh and scary.
Yeah.
And then you're like, damn. Like as a farmer, you want to talk, and this is a conversation that was having with Mr. May out at his farm. He was like, man, the lowest man on the totem pole is has always been the farmer, and you know, as far as like food chain, you know, and folks on the other end don't know like the process and the investment and like this generational wealth stuff and like how they move, you know, property around and insurance on their crops and stuff.
Well, even when they pay people not to
they
farm,
not to
the
grow.
subsidies, that's wild.
Yeah,
I
isn't that
know,
crazy?
right?
That's so sad, man. And like we're at
Pay
a
'em
place.
more to monocrop.
Well, we're at a place where just the United States alone could basically feed the whole world if we wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's places in our own country that are starving.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Man?
We're paying people not to grow shit.
Yeah. How sad is that? What kind of logic is that, man? That's why the aliens haven't. That's why they send balloons just to test us. They send balloons. They're like, "Are they ready?" I don't know. Let's send some balloons. Nope.
Dude, it's about the almighty dollar for those making the big dollars. Really,
it is.
It's been that for a long time, and that's kind of what I mean. Not to be pessimistic about it, because
don't you go dark on me?
No.
Don't you go dark on me?
And that's actually a whole other topic too, right?
It
just that in and of itself, saying that something is dark is that something is bad.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. Maybe that goes back to human nature and the fact that the dark is scary as fuck.
Bleak.
Sometimes
It's
dark
bleak,
is truth.
It is. Truth is naked, you know?
Yeah, no, but I mean like our ancestry of like when the sun goes down, that's when people get eaten.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fear. Yeah, fear goes with the darkness. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Even to this day. But I mean, you know, I have hope, though. I have hope. I have hope because of you, sir, and the path that you took. You give me hope. My wife gives me hope, man, because she's such a freaking hard worker.
Bro.
And I know there's many a time that you know, my wife has questioned, you know, what she does and all the hard decisions that need to be made, man. But ultimately, in the end, I know where her heart is, and I know how hard she wants to work to get there to accomplish things, man.
As somebody who was outside of public education before, I can tell you that people don't know, bro. People have no idea what it's like. I would never want to do her job ever, because there's so much. It's not just that it's like so much work and it's so hard and it's grueling and all that. It's the fact that there are so many forces working against you at all times from every direction.
Mm-hmm.
Things are, and it comes down to the very nature of how our nation has been set up and how our educational system was founded. They want factory workers, bro.
Yeah,
that's what that whole design of.
Yeah.
They don't want people to think for themselves and critical thinking and all this. But as teachers, man, we sneak that shit in.
Yeah.
You got to critical think.
Yes,
and that's what you need more than anything else.
Yeah.
So,
well, and the other thing too that I've noticed since Dollar has gone on his new journey is that perspective too, right? Because I didn't have that perspective. You know, I had the same perspective of like, oh, like teachers get funded by, you know, the city, the state, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And they have plenty of stuff. It's just a matter of just, you know, asking for more money and everything like that. And it's different because, like, you know, I've donated to Dollar's thing before for, you know, the beginning of the year where you ask, you know, that little help out in the classroom.
by the way, I'm going to do another one next year. So
okay.
we're going to spread the word.
But, and then on my perspective, my end, my little goes to a charter school, right? But they're very well funded and everything is taken care of and everything that they have and need, and they still do fundraisers, right? And these fundraisers are wild,
ridiculous.
Dude. Wild. There was because they keep a track of it and there's a tally, right? And so you can see who donates what, and some people remain anonymous, right? One family donated $10,000.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
School.
man.
Just like that. Just
Well, so yeah, that brings so there's a school right down the street from us, and their PTO produced almost $500,000 in raising funds for their school. And we're right down the street from them. And we're barely even, I wouldn't even say we made 100,000. We nowhere near, maybe 20,000, maybe 20,000. And that's off of Broncos parking.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is a fun one to work. I've worked out before. Yeah, man. I don't know what it is. It's so backwards and so hard. And I think that's why I respect what your wife does so much. What all of us are doing, really, honestly, because you're getting up every day and you're going into this place and you're trying to change lives, which is already hard as hell in the first place. And then you've got just countless forces working against you. These kids are coming in, with a lot going on, and traditional education never recognized that. Like, we've never looked at it that way. Like, these kids, we never even asked them. I want to hear your thoughts. Sit down, get in line, and learn what the fuck I'm telling you, because I'm the expert and you're just a kid, right? That's traditional education. And so as time's going by, we're starting to try to break that mold, man, and break down those barriers to understand these kids, because where we're at historically, there's a stigma out there, man. Like there's and that's what I've been trying to tell our kids too, is like, we are a family here, and we have to understand we can't be fighting with each other internally, because the whole world's out there fighting us, man. Everything is stacked against us, and there are perceptions, and you see moves being made all the time, which we won't get into on the podcast, but you see things happening all around you where you just realize, like, damn, there is way more working against us than for us, and we still get up every day and try our damnedest.
Yeah. And it's I want to say, once we come up with the algorithm of really supporting our students through their support system, I really feel like that is where we get the buy-in, from our students.
Dude, education to me has to be student driven.
Yeah.
It has to be, because you can't force, you can force people to do stuff, but what kind of experience is that? How much growth is really happening there? The students have to drive the education, in my opinion, and getting there is a real tough thing to do, but it starts with, in my opinion, student voice, like being able to hear these are individual people, dude. Every single student is an individual person that's coming in with whatever they've got. And no one, when do people explain the purpose of being in school? Not to mention, it's hard to admit, like, well, actually the original purpose of this was to, like, make you a drone.
Yeah.
So, but that's not what we're going to do here. But either way, waking them up even to that, or like giving the big picture and being able to understand all that, there's so much working against you every day when you walk in the door.
Yeah, I think, you're talking about like equity, man. And honestly, I feel like if our educational system were to look at each individual student as their particular career path, right? Like, what is DPS like? As my sons go through DPS, I want them to invest in their growth, right? Like, as an individual. Like, we shouldn't be packaging all our students up in these bundles and then like shipping them off like that. Like, that's not equity. It might be an equal type of education, but it's not equitable, right?
Correct. Equity and equality are two different things.
I was told, or should I say I was taught, that receiving our education was the way that we sought our freedom, right? That was supposed to be the great equalizer as far as like, making it to the top. And of course, obviously roses can grow through concrete, but like, why do you even have to have the concrete there in the first place, right? Just let all those roses grow, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that almost reminds me of the old pick yourself up by the bootstraps.
It is,
idea.
Man. And and like Martin Luther King said, like, how cruel is it to say that to a bootless man?
I haven't heard that quote. That is amazing.
So it's I think and it's just so crazy, man, because even within, we could be critical of DPS. We can have discord with these fools. But I think it's interesting that these systems now are trying to reinvent themselves. So they put people of color in leadership positions, but yet the system still remains in its racist like behavior, right? Systematic behavior to this day.
We're entrenched, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we're deep in our own history, really.
I forget the name of the what the ideology that is when you have created a system that like goes on, like how can there still be racism if there are no racists, but yet those racist systems are still like grinding because they're machines. These are machines that are going on, you know, their creators made them this way. And like, how do you stop those machines from turning, you know, and recreating those things?
Well, and I think so much of it too is the nature of human beings, going back to our like evolutionary history and just admitting how we're wired. We put things in boxes, we group things together. It's how the human mind works, and it helped us survive. Helped our ancestors survive, but we're at a point now where we have to acknowledge that wiring, the fact that we walk around with these implicit bias all the time. Like it's in everything. It's in our systems, it's in our minds, it's in our zeitgeist, it's in our everyday thoughts, it's in our subconscious thoughts, which is that's the real demon right there, because people have a hard time seeing that or realizing it's there. But to me, it's almost like dark matter, bro. Back to dark, by the way, just coincidentally. I didn't even intend to do that. But dark matter, right? It's this thing that definitely exists. We know it's there. We can't see it, but we can mathematically show that it's there. So to me, that's the equivalent of take a look at incarcerations, take a look at education, take a look at income, take a look at happiness, take a look at all these things, and you cannot deny that it's there, bro. Like you, and that's where so much of it's in the systems where, and people like to talk like it's voodoo, you know, like, oh, okay, this racism that we can't see, we can't feel, and we can't. No, you could see it. Go to a fucking prison.
Yeah.
Take a look at how many do you really, unless you have some fundamental belief that the people of ethnic minority are actually worse people that belong in jail. If that's your thought, we can't even have a conversation. But I think that's what no one says, but what you got to acknowledge it, bro. Look, if you don't believe that, now we can agree there's got to be a problem with the system.
Yes, definitely. We need to you know, I had hope that because of our time in isolation during COVID, that we would come up with a new way of educating ourselves in that moment, which in some ways we did, right? And a lot of it was more of like taking it more home and making it more personalized, because that's what we had to do to survive those, you know, those years in our little containment units, you know, battling COVID and whatnot. But I really did hope that when we came back out of, you know, our hiding from COVID, that there would have been this like energy surge in exploring different ways that we can do education and learning. And we're falling back into those old tropes, man. We're falling back into that old system, and we really need to revolutionize that thing, man. You know, and it shouldn't be that, you know, a school like Lake Middle School, it has like all these particular, like no one told us to, you know, invest in a Denver DJ school there, right? To have but you're not going to be able to duplicate a DJ Jones. You're not going to be able to duplicate a DJ Ness or a Ace. You're not going to be able to duplicate them. You know what I mean? Here we are. We're trying to get Denver International Airport up in there so we can create a situation where students get to learn how to freaking fly.
And I can tell you, like going to New York, and which was a work trip for me, the first part, you know, I stayed a little bit longer just because I wanted to explore. But the first part was going and seeing schools in Queens and in Brooklyn. And I thought it was, I don't know, seeing another place puts everything in a different perspective, because you realize people are doing stuff differently all over the place. But the takeaway was that was the biggest feedback I kept hearing from people. That's what was so exciting about what we're doing and the reputation we're building, that even people out in New York are aware of, is the types of culturally responsive choices we're giving these kids. We're offering things that resonate with them and resonate with their community and the things that they know and aspire to, so that we can not have everybody wanting to be TikTok influencers, but maybe you can do something with technology, and you can get out and change the world in a different way, in a more positive way.
Always been about exposure, man. Like seriously. And I feel like whether it be from the farming, agricultural piece to, the DJing, sound engineering, and just getting into production and video photography, like these are all portions that, if we look into the future, like a lot of those particular career fields will still be here. Because we got to think about that, right?
Right.
I saw a hamburger flip itself and fries cook themselves, which is pretty freaking crazy with the technology that we have out here right now.
Yeah.
So like we're getting ready to step into a seriously technological freaking advanced world.
Yeah.
And our students our children are not ready for that yet. They're not ready.
The thing that I always liked that I've in previous podcasts before, there's this spoken word artist, Prince Aya. Probably heard of him before.
Okay.
But he has a thing called I Sued the School System. And it was talking about modern day schooling and how archaic it is based on factory workers back in the day. And how you guys were saying, like, it's how was a machine, just basically producing this, and this. And one of his quotes, that he used was the Albert Einstein thing. Was Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Something to the effect, again, just paraphrasing, that everyone's a genius. But if you tell a goldfish that it can climb a tree, the goldfish will think it's stupid in its entire life because it's not able to do that.
Interesting.
And so you're teaching kids to do one particular thing that they may not be able to do their whole entire life.
Yeah.
So
I love that you hit on that, because that is the thing that's not there. Is like, we're talking about individual people. I'm like, what do they want to do? Because one thing I got to say, my son also goes to a public school, and what's really cool is that he wants to weld. That's really what he wants to do. And it's been kind of hard talking him through the importance of finishing that high school diploma and actually doing it. But his school is doing amazing things, because they're hooking him up so that he's going to be going to
apprentice school and stuff.
Yeah, at the same time. So when he gets his high school diploma, he'll also be certified to weld.
Which is, I don't see welding going away anytime soon. So
no.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those
starships
robots.
Well, robots could. They definitely can.
Now, so.
But my point too is just that
those robots.
It's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those schools that do the different things, right? The schools that have like the IB programs, everything like that, where you can get your associates at the same time. Like I remember my brother, he was in one of those IB programs at Hinckley, and he did that whole thing of he got his associates when he graduated high school.
Yeah.
So, to get you already set up.
Get you a little head up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a head start.
But again, that's not everybody's path.
That's true.
Higher education is not what everybody is sought out to be. And again, like we were saying before, with the social influencers and everybody wants to be a TikToker or a YouTuber and everything like that, like the other stuff that's going by the wayside is those journeymans, right? Those electricians, your plumbers,
HVAC,
all that stuff.
Money.
Like, I mean, that's why they're charging out the ass when you need an emergency plumber to come to your house, because there's not that many.
Back in the day, the measure of a man was like you building a house with your own hands for your family. And we lost that craft, man, of carpentry and engineering and ingenuity, right? Because that's what you needed to do in those times, right? To survive in the range, in the front range, or wherever you were.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like that is so needed, man, for us to kind of like get back to those type of elements of just skill sets that you have. You may not use them, but like it's always good to have like that background knowledge and just the taste of it, man. Like, come on.
It's also wild too to me is that a lot of people aren't going for the skilled trades. Like I see job postings for car mechanics, like at dealerships, and they were saying no experience required. We'll train you. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And so that's why you get so many people complaining about work being done, stuff like that, because they're just doing it, to remedy whatever the situation they need that point, not just the overview of everything. And like I was telling Tony that one time when he was talking about his son wanted to be a welder, and I was like, bro, does he understand that that's like, it's like a science to things, right? Because my father-in-law is a master welder, right? And he's told me all these different things, like, oh, you need different gases to weld different metals together, and some metals can't weld to other metals. And if you're going to weld this metal, then you're going to need this gas instead of this gas, and so on and so forth. It's just like, yeah,
there's a lot going on there.
Wild. Yeah, that's stuff. Fucking heating up metal.
You know what's funny is that my dad was a welder too.
Yeah.
No, my dad who passed away in 2005, which is that's a whole nother story, Lacey. Is like how much my son is like my dad.
It's genetics, baby.
And my dad died while he was in the womb.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
And the way he dresses, the type of music he like it's unbelievable. And I remember when he started talking about welding, and I was just like, you gotta be kidding me, really? Like, because he didn't know him, he never met him.
That's dope.
It's really
if that is not confirmation of, and I know I'm not going bleak, but when folks talk about
reincarnation,
well, no, just genetic trauma. So so for instance, African Americans have a higher rate of, depression and anxiety and all these things that are related to trauma related things, right? And it's in the DNA, that trauma. And I would say, as well as like our ancestors, like their special skill sets, they're, like I know of folks that, like, one of my boys reminds me of my grandfather. So like it makes sense that you would see some familiarity of your father within your son. It's interesting.
Right. And if
I know it sounds all anecdotal.
No, I don't give a shit. Like, what was it, 2 episodes ago? How many episodes was that? When I went deep, I shared stuff I never talked about on the podcast before about how I had experienced like my dad connecting with me twice after he died.
Yeah.
So anecdote, I don't really care. I just know on this podcast we just talk about what we know.
Yeah.
And that's what I know. So man, you're not out of line at all, brother. For sure.
Nope.
Because there's just more to it. And I think that I love science. I'm very much a believer in science, and I like the discipline of it for exploring the world. But I think that we get overzealous and a bit cocky in its limitations, and the fact that because we can't prove something exists, it doesn't exist is you're too committed to something you actually don't know. And so I think stuff like that, like when we're talking about multiple dimensions that haven't exploded, we're talking about all this stuff, like we walk around like we have this perfect grasp on reality until something happens and it explodes our paradigm, and changes the mentality of everything. So yeah, no, you're not out of line at all. And it is weird though, because when I just seeing that whole thing happen with my son, there's times where it just rocks me. Like there's so much more to the universe than I could ever understand. Like, what are the odds that this dude is so much like him? He's really into like Native American stuff. He like, and collects knives. I mean, there's so many similarities to my real dad, who unfortunately for me had a real troubled relationship because, he struggled with drugs and all this other stuff, and then ended up dying at a real young age. But it's just weird, the timing of the way it happened, the fact that I had multiple right around that time visits, as what I call them, from my dad. And go back and listen to the episodes. I'm not going to share all that again, but it's really crazy. I'll tell you maybe after the podcast, I'll share some of that with you.
You're gonna have to share some of that with me, man.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure, dude. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm a big believer in the fact that we don't understand what the fuck's going on. No, we really don't. Anybody who tells you that they know what's going on, they're lying.
Like Joe Rogan says, we're just flying through space right now, dude.
Right. We're literally shooting through space.
Right. Right. And we've talked about how big the universe is and how small the universe gets, and that at the ends that we understand right now, at the very forefront of both the smallest and the biggest worlds we understand, they look the same.
Yeah.
So we talked about that, like space-time foam. They call it, is like the biggest level where you zoom out from, solar systems to the galaxies, then galaxy clusters. And then this, like, it turns into this like
web,
weird,
like a nervous system.
Yep. Yeah. And if you get small enough,
same thing.
Yeah.
Same
and
stuff.
like the nerd, right.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing, is the similarities to the structure of the universe and like our neuro setup, our brains, like our
everything's connected.
Well, we're someone's dream.
Yeah.
We're somebody's dream.
Somebody's dream.
Oh, I heard that little debate about us being in a simulator.
The blue pill
is a simulator of a simulation of a simulation.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Well, if the universe is infinite, like we talk about this all the time, Pierce. There's another Mike and Tony show happening right now.
Yeah, that's right.
There's one. It's exactly the same, except Staff Sergeant Lacey McDonald. He decided to just do one of those little lion nicks in his eyebrow, and just.
You know what? I was
Back
thinking
in the
about
day.
doing that when I shaved my beard, man.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I decided
I'm
not
liking
to.
the look, by the way, because I really only know you with the beard.
No,
for the most
that's right.
part.
Yeah, yeah.
But
wow, really?
yeah, but
You've
I've
never seen me without the beard, man.
No, I have. But I think
Oh,
of,
when we
I
met.
think of
Okay.
Lacey, I think of a dude with a beard.
Okay.
Right? Like I
That
know
makes
I've seen
sense.
you do the mustache before.
Yeah.
I know when you were younger, you definitely rocked the mustache.
Yeah.
I've seen those old military pictures and
Yeah.
stuff. You rock it.
Dang, they're old military pictures now.
Yeah, bro. We're
I'm
old.
still accepting, that I crossed that line, man.
Oh, homie, wait
That
till you
4-0.
No, we crossed the line when people start referring to when we were born as the late 1900s. Bro, that's a real
That's
thing.
true. That's real stuff, man.
We were
Why
born
did you just do that to me?
for me, it was
Born in the late 1900s.
for me. It started when Pearl Jam went to the classic rock station. I was like,
man.
classic rock. Damn, we old man. So this went by really fast. Just a meandering conversation with one of the people I love and respect more than anybody else.
Likewise, sir. Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother. Thank you for being here. We got a guest next week, Pierce.
We're working on it,
We're
yeah.
working on it.
Yep.
Okay, and then we got Dom
MP coming up.
Week after that?
So, yeah,
Okay,
got a few people lined up.
themikeandtonyshow.com.
Yeah.
You can email us at mikeandtonyshow@gmail.com.
And with that dollar,
Mhm.
it is a wrap.
Cheers. All right. So we stopped the audio recording. Now we will end. We'll stop recording. Okay. And